All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming. Believe it or not, this is probably the third or fourth time I'm trying to do this, and what I am trying to do is to take the BMI or Body Mass Index app that we have written and that we have gotten to work using ActiveX Data Objects.net or ADO.net, where we wrote a lot of our SQL ourselves. And I want to convert that to an entity framework application. I've had all sorts of problems trying to do it. I'm going to try to do it again. And you're going to get to watch me do it all. So I'm going to start by coming into here. This is the project that I had that works for ADO.net. Okay? But I want to start up a new session of Visual Studio. You can have more than one running at a time. All right, and I'm going to create a new project. All right, and I'm going to come in here. Excuse me. I am going to come in here and let's see. I'm going to choose Windows Forms app right here, and I'm going to do next. And I'm going to put in here for the name of my project. All right, so this will be the name of the project, not the name of our solution. But for here, I'm going to put in here BMIEFPart01, just in case we want to do it again. All right, the location will be I think there's nothing in here. I think that's the one I just made that's called EF Core. All right, so I'll select that folder. And the name of the solution is just going to be Entity Framework Projects. There is no reason that the name of the project and the name of the solution have to be the same. All right. So I'm going to click Next, and it asks me what I want, and I do want .NET 8 long-term support. I can go all the way up to 10 here, but I want 8. All right, so that should be creating it right here, hopefully, in just a moment. So there we have it. All right, we've got our solution, Entity Framework Projects, and we've got our project, BMIEFPart01. And we have this form1.cs file. All right, what I am going to attempt to do is to bring in some of the stuff I had from the projects, what I'd done previously, so I don't have to redo this, in other words. All right, so I'm going to right mouse click on this, and I'm going to choose delete. I don't want that. Okay, so now it's not in here. So I'm going to right mouse click. I am going to choose add an existing item. I'm going to go back to my older project, which was under C# programs. Entity Framework BMI app right there. All right. And I'm going to attempt to bring in form1.cs, form1.designer, form1.resx, FRM BMI stats, FRM BMI stats designer, stats resx, and the program file. I'm going to tell it to add it. Now I'm going to probably say a file with program already exists. You want to replace it? I'm going to say yes. So hopefully all of that stuff is now in here. Let's check. So I'm going to double click on my FRM BMI. All right, and my FRM BMI stats. So let's try to bring up, let's see, where are they? There's that one. And now I'm going to get errors. Don't worry about that. All right, right now we're going to see if we can fix that in just a moment. We haven't brought in our libraries yet, so we're going to try to do that in just a moment. All right, so I've got form 1 here and I've got the other one here. Okay, now not a big thing, but where we've got this GUI program, iteration, etc. I want to change the name here, and I want to say it is what it is, but I'm going to say Entity Framework Core version 01. All right, and hit enter, and you can see that I've got that in here now. I'm also, because the last time I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think the last time I did this, it was green. So what do we have next after green? We got this light blue. So let's use that. And we'll make this a little darker shade of blue, like that. Okay, so we've got that done. And we will go to our, what we've got here, and let's do the same thing here. So we'll make this the darker blue, and this will be the lighter blue. Now, it makes absolutely no sense to try to run this right now because we've got all sorts of errors in here. So I'm not going to, but I am going to do a file, save all, and I'm going to close all these for now. Now, I'm going to come in here, and next, I am going to get both those as closed as I can get them, like that. And I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to do an add. And I want to add the BMI library stuff. So this will be a new project. It's going to be a class library. So we're going to use class library right here. Next, we will call this BMI library. It's going to be in our projects folder. In fact, the location is going to be in this solution. That's fine. So next, and it asks what we want. And you'll notice we're again going to choose 8. Now it gives us this thing right here that we don't need at all. So we're going to remove that class. All right. So let's delete that. Now let's come in, right mouse click, choose add, existing item. We're again going to go back like we did before to our C# programs right here. In fact, not even there, I'm sorry. We're going to go back to BMI lib, and we're basically going to bring everything that's here in. Now, the only one I'm not sure of is the project file, which I think is here, but I don't see it. So I'm going to grab all of these, and I'm going to add them. There they are. All right. And then I'm going to do a similar thing. There's problems in with what I just did, but I'm going to fix them momentarily. I'm going to go in and I'm going to add another library. This one is going to be called Validation Library. Click Next. Again, version 8. Create. Again, I don't need this class file, so I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to come in here, and I'm just like I've done before, I'm going to add existing items. I'm going to go back just like we did, pretty much the same thing we did before. And that's down here someplace under validation. And we want these two. So we're going to add those. Now, there's all sorts of problems with these right now. I want to show you what I mean. Let's bring both these up. Well, first of all, we've got namespace validation lib. All right, we don't want that. We want that to be validation library. So let's just add R-A-R-Y on the end. That still doesn't fix our errors. You see we've got errors in here, but it's a start. So File, Save All. All right, then I'm going to come in with the other one here, the validation.cs, and I'm going to do, notice that does say namespace validation library, so they were both changed. Now this one has no errors. All right, there are no errors in here. All right, the other one has errors. We're going to work on those momentarily. So I'm going to do a File, Save All. I'm going to, for now, close both of these. All right, now I'm going to go to my BMI library, which has got a lot of stuff in it. And I'm going to open up each one of these. Whoops. No. So I'm going to see if I can open them all up. Just open. Okay. Why? Because the first thing I want to do here is I want to change all these. So I'm going to do a rename on that. You can just type, but I like to do it like this, because as it says, it'll rename everything for me then. All right. So that's done. Now, what that should mean, first of all, let's do a File, Save All. So that one's fixed. All right. The next one is fixed. The next one is fixed. The next one is fixed. 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 And fixed. So those are all done. Now there are still problems with this. I want to say that again. There are still problems with this. The next thing that I want to do is I want to come in, and I'm going to close this as well. And maybe what I'm about to do probably isn't really recommended, but I'm going to do it like this anyway. And what I mean is I'm going to go back to here. Now this is my EF core that we just created. All right, notice in the projects, we've got BMI EF Core 1, we've got BMI library, we've got validation library. Very good. All right, so the validation library, in many ways, is breaking some rules right now. What do I mean by that? It's easier to show you. So in our validation library, we've got a validation both in here. And one of the things that's in there, I think it's in this one and not the other one. And that is these. If you remember, we created something to make it easier for us to hide a current form and show another form. Well, it's giving us an error right now, and I know why. All right? I understand why it's giving us an error. All right? But really, class libraries are supposed to be what's called UI, or a user interface agnostic. In other words, you really shouldn't be referencing anything from a form inside of a class library. All right? You can do it, but it's not recommended. It makes your testing, your maintaining, and reusing it easier if it's not tied to a form. All right? So I do want to do it anyway. Okay? So what I'm going to do is in here, I am going to find the CS Proj library right here. I'm going to edit it, but I'm going to open it up right here. All right? Now, right now, the reason it's not working is this says Net 8.0, okay? But what we want to add to this is minus Windows. Now we'll be able to do that. So File, Save. Now, what you'll notice, I want to show you this. I'm going to do a File. That one, all right, that's what I need for the validation library. Okay, but if I open up my other one, the BMI one, so I'm going to try to open that one up. and find that CS_proj file. That one, to my knowledge, is not directly referencing any form stuff. So I think that one should be okay the way that it is. Should be. All right, so I'm going to close that. I'm going to close this. All right. Now, again, we still have plenty to do here, and I'm already 16 minutes in. But so far, so good. And remember, we have one more here. We've got our core project. And if I open up that CS_proj file, you'll notice that already has the .NET 8.0. That is, again, going to allow us, that will allow us to bring in Windows Forms. So we can use forms. We can use anything that goes in a form. We can use text boxes. We can use labels. We can use buttons. We can use message boxes, etc. All right, so we want that. The last thing I'd like to try to do here, hopefully it's going to work. So far, everything's worked according to form. We still have to fix these. We'll do that in the next video. All right, but what I want to do next is I want to go back in, because we have to go back and bring in again from Tools, NuGet Package Manager Console. We have to bring in all our Entity Framework core stuff. So I'm going to say install package Microsoft.Entity Framework Core minus version. We were using 8.0.22. Now notice everything was successful. That's a terrific start. Next, we want to do the same thing, but .SQL server. And again, everything was successfully installed. Fantastic. The third one we want are the tools. That was okay. And the last one, I believe, I'd have to go back and check to be sure, but I think it's design. And that all worked. So we should be able to, for now at least, exit out of here. All right. Notice we got errors. All right. And that's to be expected. They're all right now showing in here. Okay. Now, not sure if this is going to allow me to fix it or not. No idea. All right, but let's see if we can at least get rid of some of these errors. So I'm going to go back to my validation library. I'm going to attempt to add a project reference. All right, and I don't think I need either one of these, but I do need to go down here to COM, and I want, we'll see if it works. We'll need system, and I think the latest and greatest, and system.windows.forms. I'm hoping that's going to fix everything. I'm not positive if it will or not. And I said, okay. Now you'll notice I'm still getting these errors. So it may be that there's other things I have to do. But when you look in here, and I look at the errors that are in here right now, all right, everything is validation library. All right, and they're all in validation both. All right, and it says forms does not exist. I'm not sure what the problem with that is, but I'm going to do a file, and I am going to do a save all. All right. Now, this is my validation library using system.windows, and this is the problem I ran into before. And notice it doesn't show forms. All right, so I still have a problem with that. I'm going to have to try to fix that and rectify that. I'll be back with that in part 2 of this.